Hello guys, so we're going to go over this week's vocabulary and literary terms, and we're going to read the shared read together, okay? We'll start with the vocabulary for the week. The first word is astronomer. An astronomer is a person who studies the solar system. He studies what we call astronomy, which is the subject that you study. Astronomy is the subject of studying the solar system and all of the things in the solar system. Okay, it says the astronomer pointed out the crater on the planet. So he's pointing here to a crater. All right, next word is crescent. Crescent. The moon tonight looks like a crescent and is shaped like a C. This is the shape of a crescent. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of the moon. Also, when the moon ends and goes away and starts anew, you find another crescent on the opposite side. Okay, so a crescent is a small portion, a small piece of the moon. Next word, phases. Phases are the steps of growth that something goes through. Here we have the different stages of the moon and the phases that it goes through as it goes from being a crescent to a fully round moon. During one of the moon's phases, the moon appears to be perfectly round. It has everything visible. Okay? So phases are the steps that something takes in the process of growing. Like another example that we used is a tadpole that turns into a frog, and the stages that it goes through, the steps, the phases of growth that it goes through as it turns from a tadpole to a frog. Rotates. Rotates means to go around and around in a circle, to turn. The hamster turns and rotates his exercise wheel. He makes the wheel go around and around as he runs on his wheel. Okay, rotates means to turn around and around. Next word, series. Today in class we discussed the word series, and we talked about how when we list things in a series, we put commas between them. Like in a sentence, if I say I have pencils, comma, books, comma, and a ruler, there are 3 things in my series, a list of things that come one after another. There's also a series that we talked about. Somebody brought up the series that we watch in Ramadan, how the shows come on, and they come on every night in Ramadan, and they are one show after another for the month. This is also a series. The series of photographs shows what happened after I watered the flower. So here he has a group of pictures that came one after the other, and it shows the growth of the flower in the pictures. Next word is sliver. Sliver. A thin sliver of light showed beneath the curtain. See how it's very thin and small? This is a sliver. Something thin and small is a sliver. I told the students today you can have a sliver of cake. The moon, there can be a sliver, a very little piece of it that is showing, and it's very thin. There can also be, similar to the crescent, there can also be a sliver of hope, a very thin amount of hope that you have. Okay, so sliver is a very thin amount of something. We also talked about if you dropped your phone on the floor and the glass broke into many pieces, a very tiny thin piece would be called a sliver. Okay, the next word is specific. I don't remember doing the word specific in class today. I think we skipped that. So I hope everybody watches and they see the word specific. All right, specific means something particular. Like if I say I want a book, I don't want a specific book. That means that I could take any book. But if I say I want a specific book, it means I'm picking out one especially. Like in the sentence here, it says the boy held up a specific kind of orange that is used for making juice. That means that this orange is perfect for making juice, and this is the specific type of orange you should look for. So you should look for this one in particular. Last word is telescope. The boy looked through the telescope at the boats in the harbor. This is a telescope. and he's looking through it, it magnifies what you see so that it looks much larger than it actually is. Many people look into the solar system and into outer space using telescopes. All right, let's move on. Next, we're going to read Wonders of the Night Sky. All right, notice the beautiful lights in the sky behind the title. How do you explain what you see in the sky? Think of this essential question as we read and how it relates to what we're reading. As Earth rotates on its axis, day becomes night. As Earth turns on its axis in a circular motion, suddenly a gallery of lights is revealed. You may see a beautiful crescent moon. You remember the crescent is the small beginning of a moon. Maybe you will see one of the other phases of the moon. Phases is the stages of growth, the steps, the process of growing, the different steps that something goes through to grow. So this moon has different phases throughout the month that it changes until it becomes a full moon. You may even see a series of lights spread across the sky like colored ribbons. Remember, series is a group of things that come one after the other. For thousands of years, people have loved looking at the night sky. For almost as long, scientists have been trying to explain what they see. Aurora borealis. Every few years, an amazing light show is seen in the skies near the North Pole. It is known as the Northern Lights or the Aurora borealis. Brilliant bands of green, yellow, red, and blue lights appear in the sky. This is the lights that you see. I told everybody to go home and Google this and see what it looks like to see actual photos. People used to believe the lights were caused by sunlight reflecting off polar ice caps. The theory was that when the light bounced back from the caps, it created patterns in the sky. In fact, the lights happened because of magnetic attraction. So people thought it was the lights reflecting off the ice caps, but it wasn't. It's an actual attraction of magnets. The sun constantly gives off a stream of electrically charged particles in every direction. These nearly invisible pieces of matter join into a stream called a solar wind. As Earth orbits the sun, solar winds reach Earth's magnetic field. As a result, electric charges occur that are sometimes strong enough to be seen from Earth. These electric charges cause the colorful bands of light in the sky. So this is actually caused by a magnetic attraction that meets the solar winds in the Earth's magnetic field. Comets. Another kind of light you might see move across the night sky is a comet. The word comet comes from a Greek word that means wearing long hair. It came from the Greek philosopher Aristotle, who thought that comets look like stars with hair. This is a picture of a comet. Long ago, people feared these mysterious streaks because they believed they might bring war or sickness to Earth. Today, comets are less scary and mysterious because we know that they are a mixture of rock dust, ice, and frozen gases that orbit the sun. So people long ago didn't have very much information. They just saw these things shooting through the sky, and they thought that it was going to cause them problems, that it was like a punishment or some type of magic. Comets move around the sun in an oval-shaped orbit. When a comet comes closer to the sun, the result is that a tail of gas and dust is pushed out behind the comet. This long tail is what people see from Earth. Scientists think comets are some of the oldest objects in space. They can track specific comets and predict when they will be seen from Earth again. Remember, specific means particular ones. So they can track certain ones and know when they can be seen again. Meteors. Have you ever looked up the sky and seen a shooting star? Those streaks of light are not really stars at all. What we call shooting stars are usually meteorites. Let me try that again. What we call shooting stars are usually meteors. Meteors are another name for the rocky debris and fragments that enter Earth's atmosphere. Sometimes Earth passes through an area in space with a lot of debris. This is like a lot of garbage, okay, floating in the sky. So this is like dust, rocks that are floating in space. This is when a meteor shower occurs. You may see hundreds of shooting stars on the night of a meteor shower. These days, an astronomer, someone who studies the solar system, or anyone with a portable telescope, remember this is a telescope, the instrument used to see into space, can raise new questions about space. What do you see when you look up at the night sky? Whether you look at a sliver of the moon or a fantastic light show, you're bound to see something amazing. Remember, a sliver is a very small portion, very thin portion of the moon. All right. Let's take a look at the literary terms for the week. Our first literary term is ask and answer. Remember, we've taken this several times before. When we have a question about something we're reading and we don't understand it, we ask ourselves a question, okay, why did that happen? Or who said that? I can't remember. And you go back and you read again to answer your questions. Cause and effect. Remember that cause is why something happens and effect is what happens. So a good example is if I run on the stairs, I can fall and hurt myself. So the cause is that I was running on the stairs. The effect is that I fall and hurt myself. Okay? We've taken cause and effect before as well. Expository text. Expository text explains facts and information about a topic. Today's topic that we read about were the wonders in the night sky, things you might see in the night sky. We have for text features this week diagrams. Diagrams show the parts of something. We'll go back and I'll show you in the text. We have bold-faced words and we have pronunciations. We'll go back and look at those in the story together now. Let's take a look first. We have context clues when you use the information around a word that you don't know to help you understand the word. Okay, let's go back and take a look at some of these things. Here we have bold-faced words. Look at meteors. See how the word is darker? Same thing for telescope, astronomer, and sliver. And also Aristotle. Maybe I'm thinking about snakes. I keep saying slither. Aristotle. See how the print is darker and slightly bigger than the other print? This is to draw attention to the key words in the text, the words that are important and you should pay attention to. This is a diagram. This diagram shows the parts of a comet, the nucleus, the coma, and the tail. It labels and points with arrows to each part, okay? All right, here we have next to the word Aristotle, we have pronunciation. It tells us how to say it, how to say the word Aristotle. Okay, it tells you how to pronounce his name because it's not a very common word, and unless you know who Aristotle is, then you wouldn't know his name, so it's helping you to pronounce it correctly. The same thing here with meteors. Meteors. You know, it's funny because it says here ERS, which sounds like Earth, but I've always heard meteors. Yeah, that's right, meteors. Yeah, that's correct. Meteors. Okay. Here, I want you to take a look at this sentence. It came from the Greek philosopher Aristotle. Here we have a sentence clue, a context clue, a clue inside our sentence that helps us understand what the word Aristotle means. If we don't know who Aristotle is, there's a clue in our sentence to tell us. It came from the Greek philosopher Aristotle. So we know from this clue that Aristotle is a Greek philosopher. Okay? So that is it for this week. That's your vocabulary, your story, and your literary terms. Okay? I posted the grammar review that we did in class today. This grammar review we will do today, tomorrow, and Wednesday in class. I will post the answers for you to do practice as well at home. We are doing these orally in class and going over the answers. So you should, because you're doing it alone and not with your classmates, you should write the answers to your grammar review and then go over the answers to make sure that you got them correctly. All right, see you next time. Bye-bye.